What up, gamers? I'm Jason, and I'm back with our guest host on Kickstarter Excess or Value, and we're going to be talking about one of the hottest games that are out there. I think you're probably wondering why we got so many videos coming at once. Well, we've been busy, and there's lots of great stuff going on Kickstarter and GameFound right now. So this is Fractal by Board Game Inc., and we're going to get into it in just a moment. So I'm going to let our guest hosts introduce themselves and tell you where you can find them.
Hey folks, Ryan here from the Bridge City Board Gamers and the Card Board Conjecture Podcast. You can find our podcast that comes out every Saturday and Wednesday. Saturday being Card Board Conjecture, Wednesday being What You've Been Playing Wednesdays with Jason and Julie from Dice and Dragons, and Rob and Anna Marie from the Meeple Dungeon, and a whole schwackload of other great Canadian content creators that are telling you what they've been playing lately. And of course, I'm also all over YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, but you just have to search up Bridge City Board Gamers.
And I'm Rob, and
I'm Anna Marie.
And we're from the Meeple Dungeon, and you can catch us on Twitter and YouTube and on our own podcast, which can be found on almost all the podcasting sites. We're part of the What You've Been Playing Wednesdays podcast with Ryan and Jason as well. And then we hang out here with Ryan and Jason, talk about Kickstarters every few weeks or so.
It's a therapy session, and we
yes.
better. And
gosh, do I need these therapy sessions
so bad. So bad. This is our third video tonight.
Yes, it is. A little bit of behind the scenes.
Wait. You got to give them the illusion that it's live,
right? Yeah.
And unique.
Oh yeah, live.
It's okay. I'm sure that anyone that's a fan of the show will notice the shirts.
Yeah.
Let me part my hair on the other side.
I only wear one shirt.
Here to here.
Let's switch sides.
All right, we're going to change this up a bit. I have done my research, but Rob has done more research about Fractal. So I'm going to let him take it away and give you a little bit of a background on the game, and then we're going to dive into the pledge levels.
Well, yeah. So in Fractal, it sounds really, really cool. So it's an asymmetrical space opera game again. So you got all these different
with mechs,
which is that's a cool point. So you've got all these different factions at war in the galaxy, and they're taking over control of planets, and they're using the resources on those planets to upgrade their armies and such. And you have land units, which is really cool in this game compared to a lot of space opera games. There aren't land units, so that's kind of neat. What else is there to say? It's kind of par for the course with most space opera style games. It's card driven. The battle is all cards, so you're constantly laying down cards and trying to outwit your opponent with because your cards are multi-purpose. So you're going to lay down this card, and you lay down simultaneously, and you're battling that way. You're adding more cards to your fight to try and win the fight.
And I think one thing that's important to note on that is that you're going to have the initiative as well. So that's going to be a big difference. Like if someone plays a faster card that is more powerful than yours, you might be ramping up for that big swing, but they might be able to take out your ship that's going to deliver that swing before you can. So got to be careful in that back and forth.
Yeah, so but that's the main idea behind this is just kind of battle for supremacy. But it is a 4X style game, so you can kind of choose your route to victory, I suppose. And the one cool thing about this is they do advertise a 30-minute per player session, which is kind of unheard of for this style of game. Which really caught my interest when we first started talking about this game. And I do love the idea of the mechs on the planets. I don't know why. As soon as I saw a photo of that there was ground units, I was like, this is cool because this is not common. So that's the basics of what's going on here.
I don't think there's much that you miss. They're just the action cards, which you'll be able to do twice on a turn. That can be very powerful. So be careful with what actions you're going to be cycling through. And I think that's where you get some of that 30-minute playtime because they're communal actions. What you're going to be doing is very basic. You see like anyone going through like any of the preview videos. It's really like, I'm going here, I'm doing this, and then there's combat. and then it's deciding the actions that you want to take. The tech tree looks really interesting where there's 2 versions of each tech. And so you can either get multiple versions or focus on one and try to upgrade it. But, not everyone can get those same tech cards. And then I didn't see it on any video, but I know that Roll for Crit mentioned it because you're talking about the different paths to victory. I believe there's also like the race and their type of government are going to come into play if you want to try to win an exploration victory or if you're going to try to win a military victory. So I really like the idea that there's different paths to win. I think that really fleshes everything out. You definitely did a much better job of explaining the core than I am. I'm glad I'm able to help round it out with these few points that stuck in my head.
It's not overly different from anything out there. But we're going to take a look through here and kind of go piece by piece here and find out why it might be particularly special.
So let's break down the pledges. We'll let the pledge master Ryan take it away.
All right. So core box, if you just want Fractal, the core game, €79, so about 114 Canadian. And I kind of found the spot on the page here of what's in the core box here. And it says here, we love beautiful products and dislike the idea of gating quality upgrades behind artificial stretch goals. Here, double layer player boards, thick cards, and high quality minis are all included from day one. Uncompromised experience.
I like it.
There we go. There you got your everything here. Kickstarter exclusive 6 extra action cards will get included just because you backed on this Kickstarter campaign. A whopping 6. That's awesome. And we got square cards. So you sleeving fanatics out there, you have to find yourselves your square sleeves. Square sleeves, which are very hard to find in Saskatoon. You always have to go to them online for some odd reason. And then you got your mini cards, which have been upgraded. Your game boards, which actually kind of do look really, really kind of cool. You very unique shapes to them. Your faction mats. And there we go. Here we go. Plastic miniatures really nice. Of your very polygon-ish.
Yeah.
Spaceships.
Like Nintendo 64 kind of looking style.
like that old Star Fox.
Yeah. Star Fox. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's where the name Fractal comes from, specifically the looks of these minis and like that fractured
angle thing. Yeah. Warship miniatures, light ship miniatures, mech miniatures, infantry miniatures, which all look really, really kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool style, right? It's different.
And then there's your typical board game hexes for your planet tiles. Tokens, lots of tokens. Now with acrylic colony tokens, which do look really, really kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
I have these similar style of tokens for my Arkham Horror, the card game. They're really, really nice. Those little tiny acrylic square shaped pieces. They do really feel and look nice and everything. And there we go. A custom insert. It's gonna put everything inside the box there. So that's a lot of stuff for this €79 price.
Was that 115 Canadian? Yeah.
About 115 Canadian.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious what the shipping is, and we'll do a breakdown on that. But I was just while you were going through this, I was curious because I was wondering what other 4X games are out there and like sort of the pricing that's on them. And while the 114 isn't bad per se, but when you look at shipping, you could just buy a 4X game right now for right around that price.
Yeah.
It's hard to say with a game like Eclipse, which is kind of got its new edition that has just come out. It was a Kickstarter thing through Colossal Games. And I haven't really seen that game on a retailer game shelf. You have to kind of find it on the board gaming black market of people selling off their copies. And then a game like Twilight Imperium, which is a huge epic style space game, and that's retailing in a store for about like that 150 to 160 game, like a Twilight Imperium scale.
So if you like IP games like me, there is a game that's right in the middle there. You got Star Trek Ascendancy that you could pick up right now.
Yep.
So that's
You
just to give you an example. Like, I don't have Star Trek Ascendancy. I really want to play it. I just don't think it's going to get enough play time on the table, unfortunately. So when I'm looking at what we've got here, I think that there's a lot of value. I think that you're seeing it in all the components and the fact that everything is upgraded.
Yep.
I don't think you're getting necessarily a great deal on this, but on this, I think you're getting a bad one per se. If you're looking to get something different from a 4X game, or as we talked a little bit about off stream, you have trouble playing a 4X game like Twilight Imperium, well, maybe this is the thing you want to look at. But there's also like Empires of the Void 2, which is out right now, that comes in significantly under the cost of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your second pledge level is Fractal, the core game, and also including Fractal Beyond the Void. So now sitting at 119 euros, so about 170.
So that Twilight Imperium mark.
Yeah.
So we're getting up to Twilight Imperium, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I get to play it like once a year because it takes like 8 hours to play.
If you're good.
And so Beyond the Void here is adding in a campaign, and more so a legacy style campaign into the gameplay. So there we go. It's going to advertising a narrative story and art to it, victory points and aftermath. Every decision you make in the game allows you to score different types of victory points. And at the end of the game, check occurs to see which type of victory points the winner or losers will be favored. Based on victory conditions, the campaign will progress. That sounds pretty interesting. Custom setups and rules, modules and custom rules. And of course, if it's legacy, he's going to have secret things, secret squirrels.
Like,
so then here we go.
We don't know what they are, but they've been talked about in every preview video. There are more races you can find and get into the game in this campaign box.
Wow.
Yeah.
It even says right there, new cards, new boards, new factions. So no spoilers.
And brand new mechanics. Concepts populate this full-sized expansion, but the core of the experience is a 100-page hardcover book featuring high-quality art from our illustrator, lore-rich story, and highly replayable campaign.
All right.
So what I've understood with regards to the campaign is you're not going to get to unlock everything every time. So you're going to want to potentially replay it, especially if you have players that are into Fractal. Maybe you'll want to, play a scenario where you got a diplomatic win. And this time it's like, well, the other route was military. So you're just going to go at each other hardcore in that time just to make sure you get that military path and see what else you unlock.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a little
interesting
point of
tidbit.
contention here.
Here's a little bit of a tidbit. Either of these pledge levels don't mention anything about an Automata, but here it is. You can also purchase as a extra add-on the Automata so that you can make it. While Fractal is a solid experience for 2 to 4 players, we decided we could push the game even further at a lower player count by adding extra opponents. The Automata is not just a variant or a series of tweaks. It's a framework to use fully automate any of the core factions, essentially adding neutral players to your games and unlocking the solo play for all you solo gamers out there.
Yeah.
And so there is an AI, an AI specific faction that is only just but it sounds like that too. This system could automate any of the other races that are already in the game. That's from what I understand from reading this. Yeah, here we go. The AI behavior and the protocols and their tactics. And so then there's what's inside the Automata box type of thing. And that was up at the top. I have to scroll all the way to the top of how much that actually added, how much you had to actually add on.
I think we can all
Right
agree.
there, €30, 29 euros.
I think one thing we can all agree, the campaign layout for this page is not the best.
No.
Scrolling for days seems to be like
People motion
the popular. Yeah, it seems to be the popular thing. Let's just hide everything everywhere so that people have to spend a gratuitous amount of time on this page.
All right, so let's get
everything.
into it. This is excess or value, and I'm not the expert on 4X games here. I've always wanted to play a lot of 4X games. Unfortunately, the ones that I've known about or I've owned, I've had to let go recently. I actually just let go of my copy of Rune Wars because it falls into the Twilight Imperium category of needing an entire day to play, and it's been sitting there for a few years and has never been touched. So had to see it go, but I've got Tiny Epic Defenders and that still hasn't got played, but that's supposed to be like an easy to play 4X. So I'm struggling here, but I love sci-fi. I love 4X. The idea of it, there's great big experiences, 30 minutes. I can't lie. Like I got like 2 pledge fingers itching here. Like it's one, it's 2.
But yeah, Rob nailed it on the head at the very beginning there. That is what is the most tempting thing about this game, is that this could actually be a 4X style of game that could actually get played. And if I set aside like a Twilight Imperium day where I would normally spend 6 to 8 hours playing one game, well, here, me and my couple buddies, we can knock out maybe a few scenarios of that campaign in a day. Is what it
absolutely.
is what it's sounding like.
And don't forget, I mean, in Twilight Imperium, sometimes it takes forever to get around the board. I mean, you lose out on your reading time because clearly you could read during
Yeah.
players turns around the table. But
Yeah.
I mean, you're there for a game day, so you're gonna have more fun playing an actual game.
So,
30 minutes per player is kind of unprecedented in this style of game. So,
especially science fiction. We've never seen anything like this tried in a sci-fi theme before. They've tried some stuff with fantasy, but not in science fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fractal, the core experience sounds like it is a decent 4X style game, much like what you read there is kind of much like an Eclipse.
Yep.
Or even a Voidfall that's also on Kickstarter right now.
Yep.
Very similar type of things that are going on. What's really setting us apart, and what I really think they're really trying to get us to pay attention to, is this campaign box.
Yeah.
With it, I think that's what they're really trying to get us to pay attention to, and spend the extra $40. Spend the extra €40. Get the extra €40 in here to get that campaign experiences. That's what they're touting.
Yes.
So is there enough in that base game that justify just the base pledge? That's the real question I think we want to answer before we move on, because
I think you have to look at it from 2 different ways. Like whenever I play this style of game, whether it's Eclipse or TI or, well, I'm assuming Voidfall, I like the big experiences. I like the several hours of play. I'm usually not too thrilled about like the 8-9 hour game of TI, like you said, where you're sitting around the table waiting for your turn forever. I'm more in line with Eclipse.
Episode.
more in line with Eclipse, taking 3 to 4 hours at the most, kind of thing, with 6 guys. That's kind of where I'm sitting, and I enjoy those scenarios. This one seems like a little, maybe just a bit underwhelming, maybe, because when I'm going for those experiences, I like sitting around for the afternoon playing the game.
But then on this one too, I guess to that point, fair. But then if there's a campaign in it,
no, I mean without the campaign, like just base box, where it's, if we're going to be playing this game and it's only going to take 2 hours, I can see pros and cons for me personally. I just usually in my mindset I predict my mind I'll be sitting there wanting more when the game is over. Perhaps.
Interesting. Perhaps.
I don't know. That's where I'm thinking right now. Like what I usually get invested for
if I had
at least
the time,
3 to 4 hours.
If I had the time, I would want to try this on the tabletop simulator mod. I don't have the time to try it out ahead of time. I'm going to have to watch some more video on this thing. But everything that I see is going to be that this base level seems a little high for, I think, what the experience you're going to get out of this game.
Would tend to agree. I think it's slightly high for the version without a campaign. And
yeah, so me and two friends are going to sit around for an hour and a half. We're going to play this $115 space style game.
Yeah. Seems underwhelming.
Go.
And no, I'll let you finish. I'm just saying I agree, because when I'm looking at that, you're saying an hour and a half. And at that point, wouldn't I rather just spend maybe like another hour, get a little bit more of an epic experience? When I rather play? And talking for me, I'm like, I'd rather play Star Trek Ascendancy at that point. I'm like, if I'm going to be playing this game, like, give me one where I'm going to be building my Federation and be fighting the Klingons or shooting Cardassians, or maybe being like, hey, the Borg are showing up. Like, I think we need to like team up. You know, I hate you, Mr. Cardassian. Stupid Garrick. You're awesome, actually, as a character. But, you know, had me in the back a few times. But now we need to kill the Borg, okay? Like, that's what we got to do.
Yeah. And I think sorry, but I just think that this might be lacking in that epicness. If that's how quick it plays. So, but it's a pro though, you know, if you want to get in a decent space opera game in 2 hours, I mean, that's great. But if I don't know, for a person like me, I think it might leave me wanting.
There's so many space opera games coming out right now. I mean, we never talked about it, but there was Stellaris that was before this. Not that long. And boy, I'm kind of glad I avoided that one like the plague. I have to see how that actually turns out in the end of the day.
An interesting point there too, because are we having this conversation if Eclipse and Twilight Imperium didn't exist already?
Yeah.
And because those are what I think we would consider the industry standards of the space style game right now, with Eclipse being more of the Euro style, and Twilight Imperium, though it's still kind of a Euro-ish game, but the big, long, super epic thing. And I think this game and Voidfall, where we haven't talked about Voidfall, but it definitely warrants the comparison to, are trying to slide in to and trying to kind of make a name for themselves amongst two giants.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the gaming industry. So if you don't own those other two games, this does sound appealing, because I hear about Twilight Imperium and it takes all day. I don't have time for that. Yep. I hear about Eclipse. It's really good, but I don't have time for 3 to 4 hours still.
Yep.
Oh, this guy is coming around hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right. I think for some people, this is going to be like right in their wheelhouse. I think it's going to be kind of divided. People that love investing an afternoon into a game versus people that don't.
And I think you hit the nail right on the head. And I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. That's what Fractal and Voidfall are looking to do. I think that's why we're here talking about it, because we're very interested, just being those older gamers who don't have the time to spend on those 4X games like we may have once had in the past. And it's
not anymore.
Pre-children.
Yes.
Yeah, this gets you going. It gets you interested. And then, you're talking about TI and Eclipse, and then you kind of got like Star Trek Ascendancy that's like kind of wedged its way in the middle for people that want that epic Star Trek experience and kind of come in not at that craziness hour mark that you get with TI. Yeah. But I think we're all sort of on the same page, though. I don't think you're getting enough in this core box for the price. I think it's just missing the mark. If I can get Star Trek Ascendancy for cheaper, I think that's just more what I would want to do, or there's other 4X games. So if it's just based on the 4X experience, you're not getting it. And we see it right here. 232 backers.
Yeah. Everybody's going.
Yeah.
Almost 2,000 backers.
Yeah. Right.
Are going with the campaign. And I think that's what exactly, and we mentioned it before, this is what they want people to do. This is what's drawn me into the game, is that there is this possibility of this legacy campaigns that's going to get added to the game.
Yeah.
Now, my question would be, if that's kind of what they're driving us for, why isn't that just the game?
Yeah, and
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hate these pledge levels. I think this whole thing, there's only 2 pledge levels. I think the whole thing's wrong. I think when we'll talk about the pledge level, we can break it down what we don't like afterwards. Don't see one thunder, but Ryan's right. This is Fractal Beyond the Void. Forget Fractal. You're selling Fractal Beyond the Void.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It feels to me like they're just trying to capitalize on the fact that they have a Fractal box and a Beyond the Void box. For whatever reason, it made sense to make 2 boxes, so they're selling 1 box separately because all they're going to be doing is increasing that print run. If Fractal Beyond the Void was a 1 full package and Fractal was a separate package, I guarantee you that at the end of this campaign, those 232 pledges would be canceled and refunded to their most likely. But as they're going to be making those boxes anyway, that's where we're at. So let's talk about this, Fractal Beyond the Void, and let's let Ryan go because he's the most fired up about this. How many pledge fingers you got itching now? Is it the hand yet? Like, are you just...
Well, yeah, because, okay, and this is my cardboard conundrum that we like to bring out on the show every now and then, is I've got these 2 games that I really, really want on Kickstarter right now. I really want Voidfall. It's got the pedigree that I love. Mind Clash Games is a company that I really enjoy. You can see Tricarion just above my head right here is one of my favorite games. Anachrony is a great game. David Turksey is one of the designers, one of my favorite designers and everything like that. So they're making a 4X space type of game right now. And it's got me, oh my gosh, drooling. It looks amazing. It's awesome. But then they also have this game. And I don't know if people have listened to Cardboard Conjecture, you can go back probably in about the high 70s, low 80s. We did the Legacy series. We did episodes on legacy games, and I'm a legacy guy. We love legacy games here at Cardboard Conjecture and in Bridge City Board Gamers. And this has got everything. We haven't been able to play a space epic 4X style legacy game. So that's why I want it. And it's got
Ryan,
sorry.
It doesn't include the Automata, though.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
We're not going to, it doesn't include that. It's got, now what did they tout? It was, what did they say about 25-ish scenarios?
25 scenarios.
But with branching pathways.
Yeah. We don't know if it's 25 scenarios for the whole campaign or if it's, like
25
total. 5,
total.
10, 15, depending on what path you take.
Yeah. So 25, I'm going to maybe assume that's 25 total scenarios and that maybe a campaign, I'm going to roughly say
10 to 12.
10 to 12. Yeah. 10 to 12. We'll take you that way. So that's what's really got me itching. But I'm also very, very bummed out with what Rob said, is that this does not include the Automata. Like Automata is not included from day one in any box.
And I think that's a huge miss. And let's talk about Beyond the Void. Oops, sorry. No, that was me. I tapped my computer there. Just wanted to apologize to to the viewers. When it comes to this, we got an awesome narrative story. I'm in. We've got branching storylines. I'm invested. Custom rules, everything changes. This sounds even better to me.
Modules, yeah.
The pricing seems more in line with what a big grade 4X would be. So this seems to be like the real game that they're trying to sell. So pricing, okay. But there's a problem. It's a legacy game. And how many gamers are going to be out there? They're going to say, I've never finished a campaign. I've never finished a legacy game, or I've got a lot of campaign games. I've finished one legacy game, finished one campaign game. And this is a 2 to 4 player game. That means you either got to get a lovely wife that loves 4X space games and wants to battle out with you constantly so you get to the end of this campaign, or you got to get your group sold on this game. Otherwise, you're not getting to the end of it.
That's a fact.
However, for the
Fact.
yes, for the low price of
What was it? 29 euro.
29 euro, you can get an Automa and automate the game.
Now, this is what bothered me.
Yep.
Why is that just not in the box?
I was so confused. I didn't understand why you would have a solo mode that has to be an add-on. Like if someone's buying your game for that price, like that should be part of the game.
There's no
like here
way.
is your option. If you can only play, like if you are playing by yourself, we're charging you more than what, like
Yeah, well,
I don't know why it's not part of it.
That's exactly right, because they're directly taxing Ryan, like no, but they are. You want this game.
Yep.
If you want to get it and play it, you're gonna have to pay 30 euros more than me.
Assuming that I'm not going to be able to get my group, my group that we've finished legacy games.
Yeah. It just, but that's not proper.
Like if you're looking, Jason, for the solo or the co-op, right? Like, yeah.
Right. Like if you're, like in your house where it's just generally these games are played solo by you, why are you paying 30 more euros than me?
Yeah.
For this.
And the other thing is, this is going to let someone like myself or Ryan finish the game.
They can't exactly.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, doesn't love it, doesn't fall, like someone falls off, you can still finish it. Or if there's going to be interesting options because it's a 3-player or 4-player game, you can automate more components. This is just going to make the experience better. Or for example, let's say the person in your group doesn't like direct confrontation. Well, now you've got other opponents.
Well, and that's
so much more variety you're going to get by having this included. But it's not, so you have to pay extra for it.
Yeah,
right.
It's like a dagger in the heart here.
Yeah.
You're really segregating out the solo players.
Yeah. Why would you? Why?
And why does the solo mode add like 2 to 3 opponents? And so like if you're adding opponents that work with the main game, like if you're not playing it solo, but they only come with the solo component, why would that solo component with these extra people opponents that can be used in the base game not just be a part of everything? So you can have the solo gamers, the everybody just getting the same thing and have all the components together. It's not an add-on to me. That's just the game.
No, that whatever thing that they have that slides in the character sheet to turn it into an automa, that thing just needs to be thrown in the box and let you guys play this however you want.
And
100%.
Notice there's something that they said in the marketing. It says Fractal Beyond the Void is 3 boxes for the full experience. We see the size of Fractal. We see the size of Beyond the Void. Nice, big, chunky boxes. We only had the face-forward shot of the Automa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Where was that? That was at the bottom here, wasn't it?
It was written somewhere. It said
oh my gosh, where was it?
Scroll, Ryan, scroll.
Scroll. I got a feeling that it was just underneath here somewhere. Oh my gosh.
I think we went past it.
Have fun editing this.
I'll leave it in because we got a commentary. If it wasn't for a commentary.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I must have went past
It's way at the top, I think, actually.
Oh, it's at the top.
Oh.
I'll just avert.
Reverse engines. Oh no, that's the custom insert.
Yeah, it's right at the top. It's in the first thing. Fractal Beyond the Void. And then the last sentence, the complete fractal experience.
Oh yeah. Legacy campaign, automated framework. Together they form a deep, layered, highly replayable 4X game. Okay. Oh yeah, here. Oh, this is what you're talking about. We only got kind of like the front shot of the of the Automa thing, but then we got like the 2 chunky boxes.
Yeah, we get to see those, but just like a front-facing photo art.
Unless that little tiny bit of depth that you see is the box, that tiny little.
I think that's just an effect.
It's just cards. Well, maybe.
So, I don't know. Maybe.
That must be the effect. Because here's what they're talking fractal, but this is what I think is fractal right here.
Yeah, it looks a lot thicker there than up top, right?
Yeah. It's a dagger to the solo gamers. Like this would be like something like Norm would be really, really interested in playing.
Yeah.
And he's a like almost like a 100% solo gamer lately type of thing. And this is a dagger to those guys.
Absolutely.
If you want a solo experience, you got to pay $30 more.
And I just don't know why you do that. I just don't see what the point is.
Segregation of the players.
Why wouldn't you throw that in the box and just say, we've got solo up to 5 players, whatever, do what you want.
How many, or I guess those are add-ons. It's not even a pledge level. So
no, you wouldn't be able to see how many people are going to add on. I'm assuming these 1,900 people here in Fractal Beyond the Void are probably going to add on. There's going to be a chunk of them. They're going to add on $30
because it's going to add a few opponents.
That's 30 euros too. So that's like $50.
So I went down the shipping, and we can move down to the conversation.
Sure. Full speed ahead, Captain.
The shipping price is not that bad, but if we look at the whole experience now, shipping included, for this brand new 4X game, we're hitting $250 Canadian.
That's more. Okay. Wait. No, the Prophecy of Kings expansion for Twilight Imperium, that was like $100 box.
But wasn't it like every expansion that they did for Twilight Imperium 3 put into a box almost?
And more stuff. Like it. Okay. Here's my thing with the Prophecy of Kings. They had probably about 8 expansions that they had in their mind. And they just said, you know what? Screw it. Let's just all throw them all in one box. We know that the players are just going to buy them all anyways.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yep.
Something to be said. Right.
It's true. That's a fact.
Fact.
There's some really cool stuff in this campaign. And
there is. It's a really good game. I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I think so too.
I just don't know if I've got 250 Canadian for a 4X game that might turn into a solo game.
Yeah.
That's my big
When was the last time I paid more than $200 for a solo game? Oh, right. 7th Continent. Where are you? And did I finish 7th Continent? Actually, no, I didn't even finish 7th Continent.
Yeah.
We played through a couple of the quests, and it ended up getting shifted to a new home because of the amount of time spent.
But how much I like space and science fiction.
Oh, well, I've got Space Gloomhaven on the way, Ryan. It's really a shame we don't live closer.
Space Gloomhaven.
Stars of Icaria said they called it Space Gloomhaven.
Nice.
That's awesome.
We've also got ISS Vanguard coming really soon too.
We've got that coming too. I got in on a late pledge thing.
Oh, is that the second game that all three of us have backed? But it's like other ones that we
I think so.
talk about on the show.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I'm going back to that Space Gloomhaven. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I like it.
Here's Anna Marie in the background saying, "Did he just say Space Gloomhaven and just stop talking?"
Wait.
That's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that. Show the box when it finally arrives sometime next year.
So do we have excess in value?
We have a lot of excess. Or no, a lot of too expensive.
We have a bunch of questionable value.
Yeah, value, like the value is off.
I think there's excess. I think where we can call excess, that core game as a separate pledge is excess. It's them taking advantage of people that, well, not necessarily taking advantage because people want to give them their money, but it's exploiting an opportunity to not get the full experience from the game.
Mm-hmm.
People that really just want to and you know what? Maybe it's great for them. Maybe they're not going to be missing out on Beyond the Void and they're going to be happy with what they get. But I think that core box at its current pricing is excessive. I think that core box by itself should be cheaper. Yeah. I feel like they're trying to make up a little bit of like, get a nice little bit of profit margin on there.
Yeah.
Excess on those games.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that core box, if it was cheaper, would be a really good option for some people out there.
I think like it's 10 to 15 euro too much. That's
at least. Yeah.
Yeah, because we just finished talking about Beast, which, what did we say? What is that? 59 euro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, $59. It was like 79 Canadian. It's 30.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It was 79 Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
just slightly too high. But that Beyond the Void, the one that it just should be just that. That's exactly the only pledge level that actually should be here.
Yep.
With the Automata included.
Exactly. This is $30 under value. Or maybe this pledge should be not 119. It should be, 130, 140. And the Automa should just be included in it. If
just
it's
be
that much
included.
more. I don't think it's that many more cards, so that's why I'm saying 130. I think should be $10 to $15 more. That should be the advantage of getting in on this as a Kickstarter. You should be getting some good value. And I looked at Board Game Inc. and they did a game that I almost backed that was really got my attention. Their previous game was Exodus, which is like a co-op, like crazy space civilization game, and just really appealed to me. Exodus: Rise of Corruption, an adventure and tactical board game. And what I remember is at the end of the day, like the retail edition was nice, it's cheap, but it's just a retail edition. I'll just try to find that on retail. But the Kickstarter edition was just so much more expensive.
Yeah.
With all the add-ons and a few other stuff, I just didn't end up getting it. I've only seen the retail edition now, but on the page. So I remember I just looked at it and this was 49 euros for what it was, but there was a bunch of other stuff and I just didn't get it.
Interesting. I think I saw this at one point in time.
Yeah, I recognize the box. Yeah.
Oops. Okay, now I gotta go back. Oh no, I lost it.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, there's Voidfall.
There's Beast.
There's Beast. Okay. So
I think,
where are we at?
Yeah, I think we've summarized it. That was a nice breakdown on excess and value there. There's definitely value to be found in this project depending on what you're looking for. And I think this is really for those players that are going to go into Beyond the Void, don't need the Automa. They know they're going to get it done.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a big question is this campaign going to be engaging enough for all parties involved? Or one of the dangerous part about having a narrative-heavy campaign, if the writing's crappy, you play the scenario, and then this is what happens.
Yeah.
You're like 3 of the 4 people or 2 of the 4 people, and that really, really can make things very, very difficult if not everyone's engaged.
Yeah, very much.
So where are we at? Who wants to go? Ryan, this was your game. The other one I'm most excited about it.
I am more conflicted than when we started.
This is on you, Ryan. You brought this on.
I brought this on upon ourselves because I so am Mr. Legacy. Love legacy campaigns. But as I was looking at this, I really don't think this is like a true legacy thing. I don't think that there's stickers and permanent writing and a permanent changing of the state. I think this is just more hidden information campaign. Kind of like
they worded it like that. This is very replayable campaign, right?
This is like Scythe Rise of Fenris legacy campaign.
Yeah.
The idea with this is you're only going to open each box once.
Yes.
And then you're going to have the components to do whatever you want with. So anything you miss, you'll replay the campaign. And then once you've opened it all up, you're just playing the campaign because you want to play the campaign.
Yeah. Or I can see people doing this. They'll play through the campaign once. Everything that they didn't open, just open it at the end of the campaign. Anyways, now I got all the modules.
Yeah, they'll just read
play
the
with the game.
storybook if they care. They won't play through everything.
Yeah.
So I'm actually not going to back this right now. I don't think I'm going to back this right now. I think we may have talked me out of it, but if there was not Voidfall here already, like I said before, I'd probably be in on this. Even after all the things that we've said, I probably actually wouldn't even get the Automa.
I feel like this might have been a successful therapy session for you, Ryan.
This was very therapeutic. But I don't think I would get the Automa, and I would swear at Board Game Inc. for the end of day till the end of days of why did you not give me a solo inside the box? I already paid $114. I already paid $170. Solo should already be in there.
Yeah.
It's not excusable anymore. Like, if your game isn't designed that way, that's fine. But we're seeing games with cool ideas. There's a game that we were talking about. I won't name it, but it looked really awesome. And then everyone's looking at it like, oh, what happened to this? Why did it get canceled? And the answer was one versus many, no solo co-op mode. And everyone's like, just got a unanimous, like, well, this looks cool. But yeah, I get it. I wouldn't pay that much money without the solo or co-op mode for us to make sure that we get it played easily. So I'm going to back this for $1 because
$1, Bob.
$1 because I want a Space 4X game. I don't have one. I want one. The 30 minutes still speaks to me, but there's Voidfall. There's Stellaris Infinite. There's Star Trek Ascendancy. Like, I'm putting my foot in the door to not miss out on an opportunity for something that might be really good. Maybe I'll try to find the time, like over the next couple of months, maybe over the Christmas break, we can maybe all get in on a game of this on Tabletop Simulator, something to see if this is worth backing. But for the moment, I just want to get my hand in the door because there's something interesting going on.
Yep.
But the pricing isn't right. This is not. I'll take it, Bob. Like, no, I'm not bidding on this. I'm not trying to win this. If it was 170 with the Automa, I'd probably be in on this. And I tell Ryan, be like, hey, if you don't like Voidfall and I like Fractal more, maybe we'll just switch. I'll send you mine. You send me yours.
Yeah, because if people are not, I'm just going to do the price comparison right now. Standard Voidfall is 108 Canadian dollars, 75 euro, and the Galactic box of Voidfall, this is the everything of 135, 194 Canadian is the price comparisons that we're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, we've got solo and co-op mode included in the base box. Now, there are scenarios in Fractal, but I don't know how many.
Voidfall is also super heavily upgraded in that Galactic box too.
But
there's no
cardboard left. If you know Mind Clash games, like the component qualities you're going to get in there, mama, it's going to be big,
nutty, So
lots of cool stuff. So I'm going for $1 on Fractal because, as you say, I think that might be the one that I can get played, and maybe I'm just gonna trigger because I'm like you, Ryan. I'm a campaign game junkie. I counted the amount of unplayed campaign. Like, I'm not talking about unplayed games. Some of these games have been played a lot. Some of them I just have everything for. You got like 40 unplayed campaigns here.
Yeah.
Like,
that's crazy.
That's a lot.
I think
some games though, they're like a lot of campaigns. Like there's just a lot of content for them. Like I'm looking over at Folklore, and Folklore has 3 unplayed campaigns in it. We smashed through the first one, but I haven't got to the rest. I'm going to. Don't know when. Descent. I got a bunch of Descent campaigns to play still. So
I think
real quick.
I think I'm with you on that one for the $1 right now because I mean, as weird as I think that it is that the Automa isn't included, I'm not going to play the Automa version myself.
No,
I'd play with Rob and whatever, but I still the idea of having like mechs on the ground with your planes, super cool. I liked the way that the game looked and the way the gameplay looked. Like I think there is a good game here. I'm just torn on that.
Yeah.
I would want that second pledge level.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to spend that much on it. So I would still, I agree. I think getting it on the dollar right now, seeing if anything changes or what, but I don't know. I don't know.
I agree. I'm willing to throw in that buck or whatever to see what happens. But I just, when I'm thinking about myself in the future, I just see myself playing Eclipse or Voidfall over this. Simply. I don't know. When I'm looking for the space galactic warfare, I want 3-4 hours of epicness at least.
You like you guys have Rebellion, don't you?
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
If you like your troops, your ships, and your ground troops, you got all of that with Rebellion.
You do.
That's true.
Yep.
Plus, you can also blow up Death Stars.
It's true.
Sold.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I'm fine to throw in a buck or whatever. We'll see where this goes, but I'm leaning towards not backing this but yeah, because I just see other options that are better for me, but I see for you guys, Jason in particular, that doesn't have
Like with the
many of these 4X style games and is looking for something on the shorter end of this of the scale, then this might be like this game is for people. Just I don't know if it's for me.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the price. If this was a little bit more aggressively priced, or you were getting that highly up, like say like that 171 was 194 and it was highly upgraded with awesome components and it looked like Voidfall, I'd probably be like, this is the game for me.
Yeah.
This is the one that I'm going to get played. Are these co-op scenarios? Like, is there a lot of them? I'm going to want to replay them. Like, what are those co-op scenarios?
Yeah.
Like this, with a little bit better structuring, I think this one would do even better. And people are raving about this. And I really think that if you can get through that legacy experience, it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I just know my group that I game with now, unless I get another group, which is not going to happen for a long time because I need to have the ability to have 2 game nights, like, campaign night and a regular game night. I can barely get 1 game night in, plus just playing with Julie. Like, forget that. Not realistic for quite a while. How am I going to make sure that this works for me, and how I'm going to make sure that it gets to the table? That's one of the things that I've really started doing more and more with the show is getting the right value, getting the right components for a game that I'm going to need, that are going to be used, and making sure it gets to the table. Because I have lots of stuff going out the door lately, and it's all stuff that just hadn't got to the table. Or I look at it, I'm like, I don't know when this is coming back because it just wasn't good. Or I'm just like, it just wasn't good enough. I'm always going to pick something else over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll add in here too. There's actually an awesome podcast out there that actually just released 2 episodes back to back this past week on Voidfall and Fractal. They played the games, each of the games on Tabletop Simulator, and then talked about them afterwards. It's a podcast called Board Game Hot Takes. Go listen to those guys. They did then they gave their initial impressions of playing it right after they did their tabletop simulators. I've got them in my queue right now. I just know that content is out there of some guys that played the games back to back.
That'd be good to listen to for sure.
Yeah. So the Board Game Hot Takes is the podcast, and I think that actually might be my next go-to right after here. That might be me mowing the lawn tomorrow morning, listening to a podcast and stuff like that. Because
Ryan, I'm mowing the lawn tomorrow too. What is this?
Oh my goodness!
I was going to.
Did we just become best friends?
I was supposed to today, and it might be tomorrow because it was raining all day. It could be all 3 of us. Are we gonna time sync our podcast together?
Right.
We have a listen party or something.
Go.
And go. Oh, Fractal, why did you have to be so conflicting? Because you are lots of things that I super enjoy in games.
Here's the crazy thing. How many conflicting Kickstarter campaigns are out there as of late? I know the system's working, people are still backing, but I kind of feel like the money isn't quite as, isn't as much there as it used to be. Like we had some games that I thought would do much bigger and better.
Yeah.
So that would perform. I mean, Fractal's doing well. It's
2,700. I'm just going to look at Voidfall here. Voidfall has, I'm going to assume more.
Oh, I think so.
Where is it? 10,000.
Yeah.
Voidfall's got the Mind Clash name going for it, but I mean, we also had Iridia and Agamonia, which I think underperformed.
Just went back to back
a little bit just because of a few different things going on. So are we seeing this crowdfunding well just starting to dry up as people are finally deciding, like us, to play our games, the ones that arrived? This
was very unfortunate that they launched their campaign in the same time frame as Voidfall.
Yeah.
They're suffering.
This is very unfortunate.
No, I think they would be doing better if they hadn't launched around the same time as Voidfall, and if they'd taken a little bit more time to structure this. Like, I know this seems like a real big swing from them at a whole different price point compared to Exodus. So I think they got the know-how, and I think they're really trying to make a name for themselves in the space. The question is, can they deliver?
It's got the look. It's got the aesthetic.
It's got the look.
They're doing like 90% of it correct.
Yep.
It's just unfortunate it's the 10% that's the loudest.
Yeah.
When you buy as many Kickstarter games as we do, the 10% has to be the loudest. Otherwise, you'd be getting thrown out. Or you'd be living not in a cardboard box, but in your cardboard house.
Oh, it's made of your board games.
Yes.
Exactly.
What happened is your table would be Awakened Realms, like actual board games. The outside for your house would be Awakened Realms boxes. Like,
Yep. Foundation is a whole bunch of Simon boxes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What was our joke? We made a joke on Cardboard Conjecture. Is it even a game if it doesn't come in 6 boxes?
It's a friend of mine got their Great Wall, and I responded with my Assassin's Creed box. I was like, mine's bigger. The size is better. And my response was, tell that to Kickstarter, because it's clearly going the other direction. How big is your delivery box? Not as big as you. Like, get out of here. You don't Kickstarter.
If I can't take a nap in that box afterwards, forget it.
I ain't back in that game unless I can sleep in it. All right. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this discussion on Fractal. So I'm going to let our guest host let you know where you can find them all once again.
Okay, folks, I'm Ryan of the Cardboard Conjecture Podcast here in Saskatoon and Bridge City Board Gamers. Find our podcast coming every Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday being What You've Been Playing Wednesday with the Meeple Dungeon and Dice and Dragons, part of the awesome Canadian crew that we've got going on there. And Saturday being our flagship podcast where we talk about a whole bunch of other crazy topics, everything gaming related, what we've been playing in a topic of choice every now and then. And then, of course, all of the social medias, I'm blanking all of them. They're down there somewhere over there. You can check us out. Just
they're down there
in the description. Jason does a really good job of putting all that stuff in there. I'm gonna stop talking. It's been a late night.
Yeah, and I'm Rob and
Anna Marie,
and we are the Meeple Dungeon. You can find us on Twitter and YouTube, and on our podcast that you can find on all the podcasting sites for the most part. You'll find us if you search hard enough. We have at least 10 episodes out by the time this airs, so yeah, check it out.
All right, and I'd like to remind everyone to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when our next video is released. Also down below in the video description, there's a link to multizone.ca, a great Canadian game store. Click that link, get 10% off your next purchase. It's a great way to support the channel as a portion of that purchase gets returned to us. There's all the social media feeds for all of us out there. check out our Kickstarter rivals, see what's going on, what we're playing. Make sure to follow all of us and get some great content. And then popping up in front of us are going to be links to some previously released videos. You have a link to the most recent release, and then also a link that's going to take you back to the full Kickstarter Excess or Value playlist. So if you're looking at late pledging something, make sure to see if we've discussed it in detail for you. Then we just like to remind everyone to keep playing
games.